We're good to go.
All right, everyone. All right, so Chrissy and I are going to do a quick Instagram training tonight. And this is not going to be like a one and done type thing. We're going to do more of like a series with it. More so focusing on tonight, like the statistics behind Instagram, you know, some things that we've heard lately, some things that we've learned. We're also going to talk about, you know, like really expanding your network, how to do so, and some apps that are really beneficial to help whenever you are using Instagram to build your business. And we will open it up at the end. If anybody has questions, you can definitely answer or definitely ask questions. And I know, Crystal, you use Instagram as well. So if you want to throw in any tips, they are definitely appreciated. So just to start things off, I'm going to go into just a few statistics that I've heard recently that are like, whoa, just like blows my mind. And if you, and to kind of backpedal just a little bit right before I throw in the statistics on Instagram, I read this and I was like, oh my God, it's so crazy to think about, you know, like when you are out in public or you are anywhere, think about it truly, like how many people have a smartphone today? Almost every single person that we meet has a smartphone. And with that being said, the majority of them are also on social media. They're tapping into social at least one time of day, which I would bet one time is actually on the really, really low end. I bet we would be generous to say it's between 3 and 5 for the majority of people. So to think about like growing a business and using social media, it's where it's at today. You know, like social media has totally gotten rid of like advertising as far as like TV and phone and radio and all that newspaper type thing. But I did read this one statistic. It took 38 years before 50 million people gained access to radios. 38 years, okay? It took 13 years for TV to have an audience that size. It took Instagram 1.5 years. Craziness. So the speed at which Instagram is growing is still insane. And if you listen to anybody who studies it, we're still in the infancy stages. You guys, that is insane. We're still in the infancy stages of Instagram and social media today. So just to think about like where it's going to take us in the next couple of years is just craziness to me. Also something that I wanted to, a statistic that I read, and then I'm going to have Chrissy just kind of, I know she was listening to a podcast today that she said she heard some statistics on Instagram, but there are as of June this year, there are 1 billion active monthly users on Instagram. That is insane. 1 billion people. So Chris, if you want to kind of hop on and just share what you learned, and then we'll hop into the nuts and bolts.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to kind of bounce off of the first statistic. Let's see how many times I stumble over that word tonight, that you kind of addressed. So with our new, like I'm sure Android does this too, but I'm an iPhone girl, and on our iPhones, you can see what your screen time was on every app that you have within your phone. And I bet, I mean, all of us, we obviously we use our phone a lot. So obviously mine's going to be huge, but think about the everyday person. If somebody says, hey, I'm too busy for this, or I just don't know if I'm going to have enough time, I bet it would be mind blowing for them, for you to ask them, hey, how much time, go ahead and look at your phone. How much time are you spending on Facebook, and how much time are you spending on Instagram right now? And why aren't you getting paid for it? That in itself right there should be an eye opener for a lot of people. So I loved that. It was something that was actually pointed out on the podcast today, that we are all on our phones a lot. And I remember it was not that long ago. It was whenever the PGA Tour was in St. Louis, like last month or something like that. And somebody took a picture of the PGA Tour now and the PGA Tour like 5 years ago. And yeah, so the picture now, everybody was on their phone like this. And the picture, yeah. And the picture like years ago, nobody was on their phone. And it just goes to show you like how we are like with today's like times, everybody is on their phone. So that was like, whenever I saw that picture, I'm like, holy cow, but it is so true. Like we are in a time where we are always on this. It's always in our pocket. It's in our hand. And I'm sure you guys are like me. If my phone is in the other room, like I feel like I'm naked without it. Like I got to have it right here, right now. So the fact that we get to make money from that is kind of badass. So, okay, I'm going to go into some of the stats that I heard today on a podcast. And one of them actually was one of them that you said there was 1 billion monthly active users, but there are 500 million daily active users. So that's how many people are getting on there every single day. And we have access to those people. Like we have access to, I think it was like percent of Instagram users are outside of the US. So think about like the fact that we have access to this many people outside the US that we get to bring these products and opportunity to. Am I still sounding okay for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Okay, here's some other ones. 70% of your posts are seen on Instagram. So that's like huge compared to Facebook. I think Facebook is like 12% or something like that, maybe even 7%. And then if you are running on a business page, it's like 2%. So the fact that 70% of our posts are seen on Instagram is really big. A couple of ways for upping that number is story interaction. So people that interact on your stories, they're more likely to see your post. People whose stories you interact on, they're more likely to see your post. And whenever you tag locations in your post, that post is 79% more likely to be seen versus a post that didn't have a location tag to it. And whenever I read that or I heard that on the podcast, it kind of blew my mind a little bit because I don't ever tag locations on my post. I do it on my stories. So to know that I can up that by 79% was really big.
Do you know, is it only if you do locations, or is it if you also say tag a certain page?
That upped it as well, but the location tagging was the highest one, 79%. And then your photos with faces, so our selfies, is 38% more likely to get a like versus a picture of a product or a picture of something else. So those selfies are what's getting most of the post or the likes. And then behind the selfies is food. And the number one liked food is pizza. And so, I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think about that. Yeah.
Could we be more of a cliche society? Come on now.
Exactly.
Pizza of all things.
Yeah. Number 2 behind our selfies.
Awesome.
And then this last one I thought was amazing and so like beneficial for us in the industry that we're in. 60% of users learn about and buy new products through Instagram than any other platform. We have products, you guys. So they are 60% more likely to buy products from somebody on Instagram than any other platform. So that includes Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, all of that. So that was huge. And there was one more thing, and I guess I didn't write this one down.
What was the podcast you were listening to?
Let's see. It was the Gold Digger one, I think, or Gold Digger.
Rachel Hollis has a good one on Instagram too for your business.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
I want to find this exact episode because it was really good. It was
I know that this is recorded and that we're going to share this with the other people, but the one main reason why I never tag location is because of the creeper scary stories that I've heard about kids and that kind of stuff, of them finding your location. And it crosses my mind every time.
Which you're
and
private,
I'm
aren't you?
private. Huh?
You're private, aren't you?
I am private on Instagram.
Yeah, so they wouldn't be able to see it.
I know it would be probably fine, but it's still like.
I mean, I would never like give your exact location of your home, but say if you're out at Home Goods or Hobby Lobby,
Right.
or if you're in Texas, like you could say, "Hey, I'm in Lubbock, Texas," or wherever.
Right.
So.
Gosh dang it! I'm trying to find. I think it was episode.
While you're looking, I'm going to hop into the next part, if that's okay.
Yeah, episode 181 of the Gold Digger podcast. And it's that podcast. And it's episode 181. And it's actually called, okay, now I lost it. But yeah. It's a Gold Digger podcast, episode 181.
Okay.
And it was really good. And I do have some story stats that I was just going to throw out at the end, since I know our next series is going to be over stories. So just don't let me forget to throw out those stats at the very end. So that'll kind of lead us into our next series that we're doing.
Yes. Stories are so big on Instagram right now. And I think we need to give credit where credit is due. And that definitely, like I said, needs to have just like a whole Zoom dedicated to just doing that, because there's so much that goes into it. So that will be our next focus. But I think that'll be good to kind of drip on everybody, to let them know, the statistics behind it, kind of get them intrigued. So also, I think what's important to know is that you need to respect the platform. And just because something works on Facebook, it might not work on Instagram. So you have to understand that it's a unique platform in and of itself. And you have to understand that, just obviously everything is just going to be different for it. So what we are going to go over tonight are the apps, that we need to use, the outside apps for Instagram on building your network and all of that. But also I think what's important is kind of like building that network as far as like how to get the engagement up. It's not always quantity over quality, it's quality over quantity. You can have 2,000 followers and your quantity of, like engagement and enrollments are up, because that's what's important. But quality or quantity is also good too. So as we're going into apps, Chris, I know we're probably going to overlap on some of them. But if you had to give just like some of your favorite apps that you use outside of Instagram, what would those be?
Okay. So I'm going to kind of go with two different categories here. So one of them is going to be how I use to kind of expand my network on there, follow people, unfollowing people. And those two are going to be Captivate, and I use that for following people. And then Cleaner, I use for unfollowing people. So do you want me to kind of go into how I use them a little bit? Okay.
And why?
And why? Okay. So Captivate, basically, like I said, is for following. The way I use Captivate, and I know everybody uses it differently, but when I go into my Instagram, I go to the people that I'm following, or maybe people that are following me, and I'll go to their page and I'll go to who they're following, and I'm going to search for.
Can I back up just super, super quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want to kind of explain like the importance of why we even follow people to begin with, because when we think about Instagram, we think about like growing our cold network. I would say our Facebook is more so our warm, and we use Instagram as cold. And kind of the whole etiquette behind Instagram is really, if you follow someone, they're going to most likely follow you back. So to grow your network, you need to be following these people. So this is why we use Captivate. And now you can kind of go into what you were going to say.
Of course. I want to add that I whenever I started this business, I don't even know if Instagram was around whenever we started. And it had been a couple of years into the business before I decided to start really giving Instagram a try. And once I truly like devoted time into learning about it, like, and that's where YouTube came into play for me. Like I was constantly learning new things, but I also knew that my chances were going to be higher at being successful here the more people that were following me, because essentially the more people that follow me, the more people that are going to see my stuff. So that's where, of course, Captivate comes into play. So Captivate is an iPhone only app. And I mean, I think it's worth it to switch over to the iPhone world. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I know people have gotten an iPad just so they can have Captivate on their iPad since it's not available on Android. And I don't know a similar app that's available on Android. So basically, like what I do with Captivate, I will go to my Instagram. Like I said, I'll go to one of my followers. I go to who they're following, and I'll typically find either an influencer, someone that I feel like I could relate to, or a baby boutiques, because I know moms are going to be following that, or just a cute boutique that has cute clothes and a decent amount of following. And I'll search for that boutique name in Captivate. Sorry about this ding. And can I like mute that or without it muting my end? I don't think I can. It's a text.
On your phone or computer?
It's my computer dinging. And it's a group text message that is probably going to go crazy soon. I'm sorry, guys. But I will go search that name over into Captivate. And then instead of going to that particular Instagram's followers, I'll go to a recent picture that they posted, and I'll go to the people that liked it. And the reason that I'm going to choose a recent picture that they posted is because those are going to be more active users. Whereas if I'm going to just their followers, I might be finding inactive users, people that haven't been on for a while. So I'm going to go to a recent picture and then just follow those people there. Now, sometimes I might find a picture or a page that has really high quality people, and maybe like 140 people liked this picture. And as I'm scrolling through, these are real good quality people. I might just click follow all. Instead of just going through and selecting each one by one, I might just do follow all. And then I will add them to what's called my cloud queue. And what my cloud queue is going to do, what?
Share screen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to, or I can? Doesn't matter.
I can. That way I'm like talking as I'm doing it real quick.
I think it would be easier for somebody who's not used to Captivate to see you actually doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, totally fine. I'm getting it set up here. And like, as I'm doing this, if any of you guys have questions, just ask them in the chat and Alicia can answer that as I'm doing this here. All right.
Okay. We had mutual friends at the time that thought we would be good together. And for whatever reason, we both
apparently it wanted us to listen to the Gold Digger podcast again. Okay. So back to business. Okay. So I'm going to go into Captivate here. And I'm going to just search just a general boutique, just because whatever. And I would obviously wouldn't do this. I'm not even going to do the boutique. I'm just going to do the Macy's store. We're just going to do this one. Okay, so this one has 397,000 followers. I usually don't do one that is that big because they're probably majority of fake accounts. Okay, so as you can see, this first picture, hopefully my Wi-Fi doesn't mess us up too much. This first picture has 4.5 thousand likes. So I'm going to click that. And it is loading all of her likes here. It's my Wi-Fi is obviously killing it out here in the country.
And it will only load the first 1,000 likes.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't load. So if you FYI, if you pull one that has 20,000, it's still only going to give you 1,000. And you can't even refresh for it to load more after you follow, whatever. Oh, look at that little cutie.
Oh man, this is taking forever. Okay, so basically once those followers show up, you're going to see their pictures, and I'm going to be able to click their picture one by one, and I'm going to click actions, and then on my actions, I'm going to click to add them to my cloud queue. Now, whenever you guys do this, you're going to be able to see a difference between cloud queue, local queue, or follow now. Local queue just means it's going to follow for you, but the app needs to be open. Cloud queue means that it's going to follow for you in the background. Your phone can be off. You can be in a different app. You can be sleeping and it's going to follow for you. So basically what I try to do is I try to get a couple thousand within my cloud queue a week. That way Captivate is following these people, and I can do other things for my business and not have to worry about going through and following these people. So if you have a private account, you will be able to go through and scan these people as they request to follow you. If you have a public account and they choose to follow you, obviously they're just going to start following you. They're going to see your stuff. Get my phone pulled back up here. Okay, so if you're selecting one by one, like I said, you're just going to click the picture and then go to actions and then click follow. Like I said, you can select all and go to actions, click follow, and then that's where it'll do start now, add to local queue, add to cloud queue. I personally just add everything to my cloud queue. All that makes sense about Captivate?
Perfect.
Okay, now the next one that I love is Cleaner. So Captivate is for your following people and Cleaner's for unfollowing people. And you're probably wondering, like, why the heck would I want to unfollow people? So whenever you're on Instagram and you see the people you're following and the people that are following you, there's no cap at how many people can follow you, but you have a cap of 7,500 people that you're going to be able to follow. So if I'm following a couple thousand people a week, I'm obviously going to max out at that 7,500 people within a month and a half time. So that's why we want to go through and unfollow people. So on this here, we're going to go to Cleaner, and I'm going to be able to see all of the people that aren't following me back. So I obviously haven't logged into this since I got my new phone. I'm not going to type my password because everybody's going to see my password, and I don't want everybody logging into my account.
It should have just showed dots.
It will probably show my first letter, like every letter that I'm typing.
You think?
Yep, it does.
Okay.
So my password starts with M. So I'm not going to do that. So within Cleaner, though, that you guys are going to be able to select and see all the people that aren't following you back. You can choose the people that aren't following you back. You can choose inactive users. You can choose users that don't have profile pictures. You can select and manually add people. And again, the same thing works with Cleaner, that you can add them to the cloud queue. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen recordings or my screen mirroring. Okay, can you guys see me now? No.
Well, yes, I see you, but I see follow the instructions below on your iPad. Choose.
I don't want to screen mirror anymore. Oh, stop screen share. Oh, I got this, guys. We're good. Okay, so those are my two number one apps for following and unfollowing. And the same goes for Cleaner as it does with Captivate. As you add people to your cloud queue, your local queue, I probably only unfollow people every other week. And the reason for that is I don't feel the need to have to do that every day or every other week or every few days, because I want to give people a chance to follow me back since I've followed them. Make sense? Good?
Perfect.
Okay.
Anybody have questions on Captivate or Cleaner? Captivate to follow, cleaner to get rid of people who don't follow you. Okay.
All right. You want to go into some of the other ones that I use, or do you want to go into those?
You're good.
Share okay. Okay. So the second category of type of apps that I have, and this is for like editing and kind of things like that. I personally don't use the filters within Instagram to edit. I use filters within PicTapGo, which is available on both iPhone and Android, I believe. And that's just going to give you different filters. I like to stick with the same filter on all of my photos. That way everything kind of flows and meshes well. So actually within PicTapGo, you can create your own filtered recipe. So on PicTapGo, like whenever I go in to edit a photo, I can go to my recipes and I have one that's just called my filter style, and I'll just click it. That way all of my photos kind of look the same, flows the same, and people know what kind of photos they're going to see on my page. I'm not going to use like anything blurry and professional. It doesn't look clean. So that's PicTapGo. That one's great for editing pictures. Another one that I use is WordSwag, and I use this for both my post and my stories. It's just different fonts that you can apply to pictures, but it also has stock photos that you can use in there. So kind of like Pinterest where you get stock photos, you can go into WordSwag, and if you want a picture of like a phone, like somebody is getting paid to work from their phone, you can search phone within the stock photos of WordSwag there, and I use that a lot as well. Yes, go for it.
Yeah, can I chime in on PicTapGo? Yeah. Something that I love about that app, well, I'll say one thing that's annoying to me is whenever I take a picture, like, for example, like Snapchat or whatever, if your shirt has words on it, your picture is going to be backwards. And it drives me crazy to post pictures like that, or especially like if you're holding up a product and then the label's backwards and people can't read it in the picture. Because I'm going to be in PicTapGo anyways, editing my picture, I use that to flip my pictures as well. So I'll flip them or turn them, or I even use that sometimes to crop them if I'm not going to be in another app already. So just wanted to share that.
Perfect. Another app that I use for my Instagram. So I like things just very crisp, clear. I'm a little organized with some things, and I like my pictures to all have a white border around them. So if you were to look at my Instagram, you would see that all of my photos have a white border around them. And I use the app. It's called PicZoo. Alicia's showing it. Tilt your phone just a hair, Alicia.
I don't want to. Oh, how'd I get big?
I just highlighted your video so we could see it. Tilt your phone the other way.
This way?
Yeah, but it's not really. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So you see how Alicia has a lot of white around her pictures there. So we use PicZoo for that. And from there, you're just going to be able to import your photo in there, and it'll add the white border for you. So I know a lot of people wonder how we get that white border. Let's see here. Oh, another one that I use, and it's just kind of to clean up selfies a little bit, and that is Facetune. There is a paid one and there's a free one. I honestly just use the free one, and it just kind of cleans up your selfies a little bit. I don't get it to add like a ton of makeup to where I don't even look like myself, but I just kind of clean up my selfie a little bit. And then I have a couple apps that I use strictly for stories, so we'll wait to do those. And then one more app that I use, and I've recently just started using this, and I've recently just started using hashtags on my post. And sometimes I need help with the hashtags because I don't want to hashtag that the normal everyday person isn't going to hashtag. So I'm obviously not going to hashtag about me drinking my collagen because the normal everyday person isn't posting about that. So I use an app, it's called Hashtags. And the way this app works is it's going to generate a group of hashtags for me. So I'm going to cancel the spotlight. We're just on Alicia right now. Okay, there we go. So within this app, you can see that you just type in one hashtag, and then it's going to generate the group for you. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to go get my hair done that day, and I'm going to hashtag about balayage. So I'm going to click balayage, and it's going to generate the hashtag. It's loading. And then it just generated 30 hashtags that I can use on my post. So I'm going to be able to copy those and then post them over to my post, and I'll just delete and eliminate the ones that I don't want to do. Because I'm trying to use hashtags now as another way to grow my network besides just me going in and following people. Now, it's important to know that if you are using hashtags, you need to be in a public account. If you are a private account, people aren't going to be able to see your hashtags whenever they actually go to click or search that hashtag. You're only going to show up in that feed if you are a public account. And then I think that's really about it for the apps that I use. I do use Snapchat for some of my selfies. Yeah, I think that's about it that I really want to go over for now. A lot of the other ones that I use them mainly just for stories. So Alicia, you can take over from here on what ones you use if I didn't talk about them.
You obviously touched base on the majority of them. The only ones that I was going to add in is, to me, like whenever I look at my feed, like I want my feed to be very, very bright, very airy. I want it to look very crisp and clean. And I want that to come across. And I want to be able to tell what it looks like prior to even posting it on my Instagram feed, so I don't have to like delete later. So what I use is called Planoly. And you can actually plan them out too. You can have these set up so you have your posts and pictures ready to go, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like in your feed even before you post it. Like I said, I use Planoly, but I know Plann, Plann, is another app that a lot of influencers use as well. Like you can tell with my feed, like I got all the quotes down the middle, and then I have like the bright, crisp pictures on the sides. So if something were really dark, like there was one picture I posted down in here, and I'm like, I didn't use Planoly at that time because it just like looks off. You know, you can just tell that it just messes with the flow of the whole thing. So Planoly for that is really good. And I also wanted to talk about We Heart It. Chrissy talked about using like pictures for Instagram. Like We Heart It is all pictures that you would see on Instagram already. So I'll show you exactly what it's pink, and it's this one right there. Can you see it? There, right there. So We Heart It. And if you click on it and say, I want a picture of coffee. So I'll say coffee mug. And I type in coffee mug, and literally like these pictures that pop up, they're so pretty. Like, look at that one with the little like eyelashes and stuff. So all I would have to do is take that.
And if you were to search coffee on Pinterest, you're going to get a lot of like blurry, unprofessional, like just random pictures, whereas these are all like very clean, professional looking photos.
Right. And then, so what I do at that point is I just save it, and then I will edit it with my own editing style so it fits into my whole like flow of my Instagram feed. So and just the only thing you need to think about with Instagram is these are meant to be like really pretty pictures. Like it's a photography app. Like you are supposed to be using pretty pictures. Don't, like Chrissy mentioned earlier, don't like take a picture that's been like saved over and over again so it's fuzzy and blurry. Like be authentic. Like we all have a smartphone, we all have a camera on our phones. Like take the pictures or go to We Heart It and grab the pictures from there. So, and just kind of follow a theme. If I know there's certain leaders within the company who like change their theme every season. So like say for instance, in the winter time, they're more of like a gray, like bluish type theme of pictures. In the spring, they're more like the bright and colorful type pictures. Summer, they're getting a little more orange, a little more red, where fall is they get more into the oranges, browns, and that kind of color. So their tones change as the seasons change. I don't do that. I just personally like really pretty white and like bright pictures. So just figure out what type of theme you want. And the best thing that I can suggest for that is just to go search other influencers on Instagram and see what like you are attracted to. So, what else, Chris? What else do you think? That's a lot of info already. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else we need to touch base on tonight?
I'm just going to add one thing, and it's like super basic, and that is our bio on our Instagram. That is literally like your like not even 15-second, like a 5 or 10-second commercial about yourself. Think about like the 5 things that truly describe you. Maybe something about your family, 5 things that you're into, something that 5 things people are going to be able to relate to, and put that in your bio and make sure you're posting about those 5 things. So say you have that you are interested in, or that you have dogs, but you never even post about your dogs. You're not going to relate to the person that does have dogs because you're not posting about dogs. You know what I mean? So post about things that are in your bio, and that's going to keep you on track of what to post about in your feed. That's not just within It Works. So if you were to look at my page, you don't see anywhere on my bio that I'm an It Works distributor, that I'm selling products, that I want you to join my team, or that I even have my website on there. I don't have my website on there, and that's just because I want to talk to people before they go to my website. So I don't have my website on there. I don't have anything about It Works, because the reality of this is, you guys, It Works as a brand, but we need to be branding ourselves. And this is your chance to do that. Put the stuff about you in your bio and post about those things. Make sure your picture is a good picture of you, not a picture of your dog or the scenery outside or maybe your pizza. You want it to be a picture of you, and make it a good one, like we can see your face. So yeah, that's like your 5-10-second commercial. People are going to go to that, and they're going to see your top 6 or 9 pictures there, and they need to get an idea of who you are with those top 6 or 9 pictures. So make sure you're still always posting on point, on subject of the things that are relating to you, so that way you're going to relate to the people that come to your page.
Yes, I love it. I'm so glad that you touched base on that, because I was going to say, like, this is our chance to like actually brand ourselves. People are going to buy from who they know, like, and trust. Your job with your Instagram feed is to gain the trust of your followers. So I think that's it. I think we wrapped up Instagram in a pretty green bow. Mm-hmm. I really am very, very excited to touch base on stories next week. We're going to go in depth with how stories can really, really boost your algorithms, how they can boost your enrollments, how they can just do so much for your business. But are there any questions, anybody?
I want to throw out my Instagram story stats really quick to just kind of get you guys like a little eye-opening before our next Instagram training over stories. So I have 3 of them. There are 400 million users that use stories daily. Okay. So I said that there's 500 million active Instagram users. 400 million of those 500 million are using stories every single day. So you have 2 to
wow. Think about what's in a year.
Exactly. And I truly believe that there are 2 different types of audiences on Facebook. You have your audience that's just looking at stories, and you have your audience that's just looking at posts. So you've got to be utilizing both of them, because otherwise you are missing out on a huge group of people if you're only focusing on just posting, or you're only focusing on just your stories. So you want to make sure you're hitting both of those audiences of people. The second one, people are more likely to see your stories than they are your post. And you guys, stories are a game changer. I would say I get probably 90% of my enrollments are from my stories right now. So that's huge. And the third one, I talked about this a little bit earlier. People that interact with your stories are more likely to see your post. Instagram sees that they're interacting with that, whether that is a poll, whether that is swiping up and messaging you, or using the slide emoji feature. We'll kind of talk about how to use that. But if they're interacting on your stories, they're more likely to see your post. So we have a lot of like amazing content that we're going to be able to wrap up with just stories, because there's so much that goes into them.
Love it. Perfect. And just to kind of close it up, remember, if you want people to engage with your post and engage with your content, like, yes, it's important for us to be putting the content out there. Yes, it's very, very important to stay consistent. But in order for people to engage on ours, we have to engage on theirs. So it's like a 2-lane highway, you know, it's you get what you get out, or you get back what you put out. So I hope this was super beneficial. I hope you guys gained so much value, and I can't wait for our story training next week. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys all soon.